And this series is what every Muslim must know. Fard Ain, what every Muslim must know. So fara'id are two types. The word fard means obligatory. Are we ready to go, Wissam? Okay. The word fard means obligatory. And the fara'id are of two types. Fard Ain and Fard Kifaya. The meaning al-ain means itself, meaning fard for every one of us. We call that fard ain. Every Muslim must know this as a duty. Okay? And then there's fard kifaya, which means fard on the whole community. What's an example of fard kifaya? Example of fard kifaya is ru'yat al-hilal, right? That every month, and really in particular every month, the kids, maybe they want to play in the gym. If they want to play in the kids, if you have little kids, so that everyone else could pay attention, they should play in the gym, or maybe the back room. Okay, good. So it's obligatory in every month. Why is it obligatory in every month? Because if you mess up a month, 1 month, if you don't do the ru'yah for 1 month, you mess up the next month. You take from the next month. Then if you've taken from the next month, which you shouldn't have, and then you can't figure out the next month, it's gray, then you have to add a 30th, so you ruin all the months. And it's particularly fard for the Ramadan, month of Ramadan. So do we all have to go and do the ru'yah? No. Only some people have to go do the ru'yah as long as they're trustworthy. They see the hilal and they announce sabatat al-ru'yah, and then we all fast or pray Eid, break your fast, pray. So that's called fard kifaya. What's another example of fard kifaya? If someone dies, we have to bury him, right? Does every one of us have to bury him? No. As long as a few people do it, they have to bury. That's enough. But notice that if there's a fard kifaya comes upon the ummah, and then nobody is doing anything, at that moment it becomes fard ain for all of us to initiate action upon that. Alright? So long as we have knowledge of how to do it. And then as soon as some people start doing it, then it's no longer fard on everyone else. So for example, someone passed away right here and we have to bury him. We're all sitting here, no one's burying him. It becomes fard ain on all of us to initiate action. But let's say you initiated action before me, I got up, you got up, and then you started burying them. At that point, as soon as you started, سقطت الفريضة عن الباقي. That means the obligation is gone from the rest of the people. So this is the two types of fara'id that we talked about and that this class is about, fard ain and fard kifaya. Now, when we talk about obligation, there's a limit. There is a very special moment in the life of every Muslim, okay, in which there's nothing obligatory, and then everything that we have to do becomes obligatory. That is called sinnu taklif, the age of responsibility, and there's a moment. It's defined by a moment that occurs to every male and every female. Alright? And that moment involves the emission of fluid. Okay? Alright? That marks you as a man, semen, or hayd for women. Or if someone is sick and doesn't know about this, or doesn't have any physical processes, then they go by age. And Imam Malik said 18. Abu Hanifa said 15. Okay? As soon as this happens, what happens? The malak of the bad deeds comes down and he begins writing. Before this, he wasn't writing. So the Prophet ﷺ said, begin with children to do the obligations of religion at age 7. The number one obligation being salah at age 7. But be very strict with them at age 10. So that if Sinnul Bulugh at-taklif occurs, taklif means responsibility, bulugh means maturity, occurs at 14 or 12 or 13, maybe 11 even. At that point, he's already been doing everything he has to do for a good year, 2 years, 3 years. So really, anyone who is intelligent is going to actually make sure that they're doing everything, or their dependents are doing everything like every other Muslim by the age of 11. 10 to 11. Fajr, alright, hijab, salah, wudu, knows how to take a ghusl, okay, knows how to fast, okay, all these things, knows their aqidah by age 11. 10, really. The Prophet says to start hard at 10, so really by 11 he should be doing Fajr and everything else. When a plane comes down, right, the wheels don't come down when the plane is here. The wheels come down when the plane is here, right? And the buckle your seatbelt happens when you're here. And everything happens so that when you land, everything is smooth, okay? So this is what. Now, the first 3 subjects that we study in the Fard Ain is, one of them is Aqidah, which we're not doing here. We did it before and we'll do it again later. Right? It's very important. We've done it so many times. But the first 3 subjects are as follows. Number 1, something called Ghusl. Number 2, something called Wudu, which every Muslim knows, but actually we need to go the details. And number 3, Al-Miyah. Al-Miyah means waters. What kind of water can we use, right, to do al-wudu, ghusl and wudu? So today's lecture is on ghusl. We talked just briefly about all of these 3 things in the first class, which was almost a month ago. But we're going now to talk about ghusl. And when I talk about ghusl, I'm going to talk about 6 subjects related to ghusl. And I'll briefly go over the wudu where necessary when we talk about this. Number 1, what incidents require someone to make a ghusl? Okay? What requires us to do ghusl? Alright? Ghusl in general is a full body wash. Right? It's a full body wash. That's what ghusl is. And we'll get to all the details of it later. Number 1 reason that someone must do ghusl is taking a shahada of Islam. Now, who is obligated to take shahada? Only someone who is an adult, who is not a Muslim, who becomes a Muslim. He must take the shahada. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. A child does not need to take the shahada. Let's say there's a 7-year-old child, 8 years old, 9 years old, that you adopt, and he is a Christian or Jew or Hindi or Majusi, okay? Or he doesn't even know his religion. When you bring him into the family and the masjid, you do not need to sit him down and say, قُلْ أَشْهَدُ أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ أَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. Rather, he just joins in as normal. Only an adult who has a mind, who has thought about these things, must take the shahada. And because he's an adult, so balagh ila sin taklif. That means he either had hayd or he had a wet dream. Okay? So therefore he's not on tahara. He's not tahir. So he has to take a shower. As soon as a new person enters into Islam, he takes his shahada, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and he understands what he's saying without coercion. Now he's a Muslim. His first duty is to go take a full shower, right? That washes away symbolically his tahara. Washes away symbolically his shirk, and physically washes away from his previous state of janaba. Okay? Because the ghusl requires an intention. Right? Now, someone may have taken a shower, but might not be with the intention of ghusl. So that's number 1. Number 2. انقطاع دم الحيض أو النفاس. This is specifically for women. انقطاع دم الحيض أو النفاس. So as soon as hayd, menstruation is done, or postpartum bleeding is done. And there are maximum limits. For the hayd, the maximum limit is 15 days. Right? If someone's bleeding, after 15 days, they call it istihada. She takes a ghusl, and then she just makes wudu for every salah. And for nifas, postpartum bleeding, it's 60 days. Okay? Most people that, however, do not reach this. These are sort of out of the norm cases. All right? Now, the third reason that a person must take a ghusl is al-wiladatu bila dam, which is any birth that's basically like a C-section, where there might not be blood, or any type of situate birth which is dry, right? As long as birth was given, even if there is no bleeding, okay, or just very minimal, it requires ghusl. Number 4 is al-janaba. Al-janaba is caused by any penetration of the male organ into the vagina of a woman, even if there's no semen coming out. Just the fact that there was penetration, okay, of the male organ into the woman, okay, at that point, janaba is they're in a state of janaba, and ghusl becomes obligatory. Okay, وَإِن لَمْ يُنزِلْ. All right, this is the state of janaba, and what janaba prohibits is Roman numeral 6, which we'll get to. The last thing that requires ghusl, okay, is al-maut. Al-maut. Why is it that we have to wash a body before burying it? We don't just bury it, we wash it first, right? So the soul coming out of the body, yujib al-ghusl. Right? However, this wujub al-ghusl is not upon, obviously, the mayyit, who has no feeling anymore, or has no taklif upon him anymore, but rather the community becomes obligatory on the community to have someone give him ghusl al-mayyit. Okay? Okay? So that is Roman numeral 1, what obligates ghusl. Any questions so far? Alright. Regarding wudu, what obligates wudu is anything that comes out of the front and the back. And as we said, there are different types of sleep. Heavy sleep would obligate ghusl. All right. So this is what would obligate wudu, and this is what obligates wudu is anything else that comes from the front and the back. Okay. Next, when is ghusl a sunnah? This is also part of what obligates ghusl. But now, when is ghusl a sunnah? There are certain times when it's sunnah to take a ghusl. Like what? Salatul Jum'ah. You go to Salatul Jum'ah, every Friday, a person should make ghusl. And one time a man came to the Prophet came to Jum'ah late. And Umar ibn Khattab said, أي وقت هذا? He said to the man, he was a prominent Sahabi, but he came to Jum'ah late. Umar ibn Khattab قال أي وقت هذا? What kind of time is this to come to Jum'ah? And you're one of the elders of the Sahaba. You're coming to Jum'ah late? If you come to Jum'ah late, then what about everyone else? The man said, ما يا أمير المؤمنين, right? لم يكن إلا أن سمعت الأذان فتوضأت فأتيت. I heard the adhan, so I made wudu and I came. And Sayyidina Umar said, والوضوء أيضا وقد علمت أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قد فرض الغسل. Right? And you make wudu as well for Jum'ah, and you know the Prophet ﷺ told us to make ghusl. Right? So, in this case, actually, Umar ibn Khattab, he knows, person could have made ghusl early in the morning, and then went to work, went to the bathroom, then made wudu. But Umar was making a point to the people about the importance of making ghusl for Jum'ah and coming on time. But the fuqaha make it clear to us that it is a sunnah, not a faridah. What's next? How about Salatul Eid? Same thing. Salatul Eid, it is a sunnah to make ghusl. How about when you put on your ihram for Umrah or Hajj? It is sunnah, laysa fard. Not fard, sunnah to make ghusl. Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab said, it is so important to differentiate between the fard and the sunnah. Sunnah, which you don't have to do, you get rewarded if you do it. Because he said the Christians, what destroyed them is they mixed their fard with their sunnah until the duties of religion became so much that when they left it off, they left all of it. So that's why it's very important to separate between fard and sunnah, because sometimes people, they can't fulfill the sunnah. They should not feel that they're guilty for not fulfilling a sunnah if they can't. Yeah, Imam Malik says, "Man taraka sunnah amdan tilata hayatih." For example, if you never ever do a sunnah on purpose, Imam Malik said, "Fi khalal fi dineh." For example, Salatul Witr, Ash-Shaf' wal Witr, or Sunnatul Fajr. It's a sunnah. However, someone who never ever does it, ever, there's something wrong in his deen at that point, because it's a major sunnah to do. It was one of the biggest sunnahs is Salatul Witr, Shaf' and Witr. So much so that the Ahnaf said one is punished for avoiding, for not doing it. Okay, he said it's not a fard prayer, but the Ahnaf said the Prophet ﷺ never left it, not while traveling, not while sick, not in any situation ever did Sayyid al-Kawnayn sallallahu alayhi wasallam skip Salatul Witr, which is 2 rak'ahs followed by 1 rak'ah before sleeping, okay, or after you finish Salah Isha. Witr is the stamp of your Salah that shows that malaika that you are done with your prayers for the day. At that time they take all your Salah up, okay. So this is why it's very important to pray with. Roman numeral 2, Fara'idul Ghusl. There are 5 simple obligations in Ghusl. Okay? When any of the above 5 things happen, inqita' dam al-hayd wal nifas, converting to Islam, al-wilad bil dam, al-janaba, or al-maut, then there are 5 obligations. Number 1, an-niyyah. You have to make the intention for a ghusl. Okay? You got to make the intention. Of course, the Ahnaf don't have that pillar, but we're not going to talk about that. Number 2, ta'meemul jasadi bil ma', which means the entire body, the outside organ of the skin, must be touched with water. Now, what is excluded from this? Anything inside the body. For example, well, your nose is made of skin inside your nose. You don't have to do that. Inside your ear, you don't have to do that. Inside of your body, any of your holes in your body, you do not have to do in ghusl. Okay? Simply the outside, every piece, inch of skin outside the body must be covered in water. Okay? Between your toes. The hard part in the eyes, like the crevices. Under the nose. Behind the ears. The entire scalp. The skin of the scalp. Okay? Every single part of the body. Creases. Any crease that you have in your body. Number 3, ad-dalk. You also must rub the area to make how am I supposed to know that the water got there? By looking? Not necessarily. Rubbing. So you rub every part of the body to make sure that water got there. Okay? And for your back, you can use something for your back. If you can't reach with your hand, you can use something for your back. Okay? This is called ad-dalk, to rub. Number 4, at-tawali, which means continuity. So what's an example of breaking tawali? Is you began to take a ghusl, then someone came at the door, so you dried yourself, you went, it was the UPS man for a package that you've been waiting for, you signed off, you opened the package, and then you went back to continue your ghusl. If your body has become dry, you have to start over. But if you remain to be wet, okay, then you can continue. So tawali, continuity, means that a disruption occurred enough that you have become dry in a normal temperature. In a normal temperature. Then you have to go back and start over. This is called at-tawali. Number 5, takhlilu sha'r, which means to ensure that water has come into your scalp to go into your hair. What happens if a woman has ponytails? Is she obligated to undo all of her ponytail and let her hair loose? Al-jawab la. The answer is no. She just has to loosen the ponytail and then let the water go inside of it, so that water has come in. Okay? That suffices for her if she has a ponytail. Okay? If a man has a big thick beard, does he have to go inside of his beard? In ghusl, the answer is yes, because he's got to make sure that he touches his skin. However, in wudu, the answer is no. In wudu, he could just go over his beard, like that. If someone is scruffy, like a teenager who has, I don't know if that's a beard, or I don't even know what that is, right? There's some hair, but there's really not a beard, so they said he should just scrub it really like this, with his fingers, to make sure that he got the skin. Okay? But if it's a full thick beard, he just has to go over it like that. Okay? So those are the obligations of ghusl. Alright? Every single inch of the body is to be wet and rubbed with the intention of ghusl. Number three. Sunnahs. Sunanul ghusl. Right? What are the sunanul ghusl? Number one, if you are using a bowl or a bath, right? If you're going to a bath, and you have najasa upon you, what is najasa? Urine, semen. Well, semen is different upon, but you have to wash it off. Blood. If you have najasa, does it make any sense to go into a still body of water with your najasa, and then you're going to rub that on your face? No. So the first thing a person must do is wash that off. Okay? And if they are waking up from sleep, then they must wash their hands. Sleep meaning all night sleep. For example, you woke up and you want to take a bath from sleep. The Prophet ﷺ said, فَلَا يَدْرِي أَيْنَ بَاتَتْ يَدُهُ. You don't know where your hand was when you slept. You may have touched something in your body and there's najasa on your hand. Then you're going to go and put that in the water? That doesn't make sense. So wash off the hand first. And then 2, 3, and 4 involve the parts of the body inside. The parts of skin inside your body that you don't have to do. They become sunnah. Like what? Madmada. Inside your mouth. Madmada. To wash out your mouth, this is sunnah. It's not fard. How about istinshaq and istinthar? Cleaning up water inside your nose and then blowing it out. This is called istinshaq, up, and istinthar, out. That is a sunnah, it's not a fard. And then simakhul udhunain, which is the inside of the ear. The inside of the ear. Alright? That is what it is fard. In wudu, when we talk about the ears in wudu, many people make a mistake. They think it's inside the ear. It's not the inside. When we talk about the ears in wudu, we mean the outside of the ear and the ledge, to make sure there's no dust or dirtiness in the outside of the ear and the ledge. Trust me, many people who don't have Islam, they might clean their ear like once in their life. Their ears are very dirty. Their private parts are a disaster. Wal-'iyadhu billah. Right? I mean, think about this. We had a surgeon. One of our fiqh teachers was also a surgeon. And he used to tell me, oh, ya shabab. He used to tell our class, ya shabab, don't underestimate the beauty of Islam in its tahara. Because I see polished people in Mercedes. They come for surgeries. We cut them open and we turn away. No sense of nadafa. No sense of cleanliness at all. Okay? No concept. Subhanallah. And الطهارة من الإيمان والنظافة نصف الإيمان. Cleanliness is half of iman. Now, if the private parts of the ummah are so clean, right? Then by nature, now that's a private part that nobody sees but you. It's between you and Allah. Nobody sees that, right? And then your spouse, okay? But if that's clean, then why should everything else not be clean? Think about it by analogy. If the most private thing in your life, you make sure it's clean, then why should your kitchen table be dirty? Why should your living room floor be dirty? Why should anything be dirty? If you're that disciplined, right, then that extends to everything else. So cleanliness is really a sign. If you want to see, they say, if you want to see the status of the ummah, go look at how clean Hajj is. The degree, if you would give cleanliness at Hajj in A, that is a grade of the whole ummah for everything. Just the cleanliness at Hajj. But if you see filth everywhere, filth, that is also a grade of the ummah, right? SubhanAllah. All right, so these are Sunan al-Ghusl, very simple, right? Now let's go to Roman numeral 4. Fada'il al-Ghusl. Now, in every matter of fiqh, you have what makes it obligatory, which is different. What makes it obligatory, all right? The preconditions of the obligation. So what makes something obligatory, right, is, for example, what we said. You enter into Islam, all right? That's something that makes it obligatory. But then we have preconditions. Like what? Like the time coming in. So what makes salah, let's take salah for example. What makes salah obligatory upon you? That you have reached a certain age, right? That you're a Muslim, that you're mentally sane. This makes you obligated to pray. However, right, then there are preconditions, shart al-wujub, which is that which makes the prayer obligatory for you. So for example, Salatul Isha. We're all obligated to pray Salatul Isha, but Salatul Isha has not become obligatory yet. So the timing, right? Maybe we should get into that again more clearly next week, but that's what is when we're obligated and when the matter becomes obligatory. Two different things, okay? So we look at those two. Then we look at the obligations, the sunan and the fada'il. A fadila is less than a sunnah. Alright? A fadila is less than a sunnah. Okay? So we'll look at what are the fada'il of wudu. Number 1. Yes? Say a question? Sorry, ghusl. Fada'il al-ghusl. Okay? Number 1. بدء بأعضاء الوضوء ما عدا الرجلين. To begin with the limbs of wudu minus the feet. So when we begin our wudu, again after you've cleaned off the najasa, to begin by doing the limbs of wudu first. Okay? The limbs of wudu, which are the face, the arms, and then the head. And you leave the feet to last. Okay? Number 2, بدء بالأعلى قبل الأسفل. And number 3, بدء باليمين قبل اليسار. So how do you begin? With everything top. Everything above the waist first. And when you do everything above the waist, you give preference to the right side first and then the left side. So literally when you do a ghusl, first you're going to go in, you're going to clean off the awra area. Okay, the awra. You clean all the awra first. Awra being belly button to the knee. That private part, you clean that first. That's the first thing you do. Next, you do the limbs of wudu. Face, arms, and then hair. But because this is ghusl, you do your whole head. Okay? Then you do your torso. Your neck and your torso, but you begin with the right side first. All of the right, rub it down, and then all of the left, rub it down. Then you go to the bottom, which we said you already did up to your knees already. So now you do from knee to foot. Right side, and then the left side. So the sunan are to begin with the a'da' al-wudu, and to begin with the top part of the body first, and then to begin before the bottom, and then to begin with the right side before the left side. Okay. Next fadila of wudu is qillatul ma', to use as little water as possible. The Prophet ﷺ used to make wudu with a sa'. Okay? وَالسَّاعُ أَرْبَعَةُ أَمْدَادٍ. A mud is, let's say hypothetically a mud is, it's not exact, but let's say a mud is the size of a Poland Spring bottle of water. So the Prophet used to make wudu with a Poland Spring bottle of water. Right? That size. And ghusl with 4. We make with 4 tubs, like gallons of milk. We like with 40 gallons of milk. 40 gallons. How much water do we take showers with? Some people, they have very bad habits with the water. Right? Very bad habits. They set the water on to get hot. in the shower. Then they go brush their teeth, have calls, right? Walk around, and the water's been running. You could have fed, 50 families who are impoverished from water by that time. This is, makruh, highly makruh. Sunnah is qillatul ma. Use as little water as possible. Okay? Next is at-tasmiyah qabla dukhul al-hammam. To say Bismillah before entering the hammam. And the hammam is a word that indicates the bathroom as we know it today, or the place of washing. Even if there's no toilet there, it's also known as a hammam. Okay? Next one, أن يكون الموضع طاهرا. أن يكون الموضع طاهرا. That the place that you make ghusl in is tahir. Right? Unfortunately, sometimes you have to make wudu in a ghusl in a place that's not tahir. Right? Such as a toilet, these types of toilet that's the hole in the ground. Right? It's not tahir. There's najasa right beneath you. But sometimes you're forced, but this is makruh. It's better to avoid that. Okay? And make wudu in a pure place. Every Muslim home, if there's any architects listening out there, if you're going to make homes and you're going to sell them to Muslims, you need to make a place for wudu and ghusl. A little room, doesn't have to be big. 3 minutes? Okay. Doesn't have to be big, but it should have a place for wudu and ghusl. Right? Muhammad Zakaria, the calligrapher, he built in his home a room just for wudu and ghusl. That's it. So he can recite Quran while he's making wudu. Okay? Or dua or anything. Number 9, istihdar an-niyya fi jami' al-ghusl. That you are aware that you are making ghusl for the whole time. You don't daydream and start singing an opera while you're taking your shower. You realize that you are making ghusl. Why is this? Because just like wudu, al-ghusl removes sins. Ghusl removes sins. So when your sins are being removed, there should be some presence of heart and inner awareness of that this is an act of ibadah. And the last fadila of wudu is as-samt, as-sukut. It is actually not recommended, it's fadila, it's not recommended to talk during wudu or ghusl. And it is highly makruh to talk while going to the bathroom, while you're in the bathroom. Because some people said, the malaika are forced to come in now, and they don't want to come into the bathroom. Some people say this, that the angels, they now have to come in, and they have to see you like this, and they have to smell what you're doing. Because one thing that we share in common with the angels, what is it? Smell. This is something amazing. Many people don't know this. One thing that we share in common with the malaika is the smell. And therefore, if you have any awareness of malaika, you remove bad smells and you bring in good smells. Right? You bring in good scents into the house and you remove bad scents. Prophet ﷺ used to have a mujamir. Mujamir means someone who lights coals. 1 minute. Someone who lights coals and puts wooden chips, oud, upon that coal that releases a beautiful scent. Only a few trees in the world, right? Their bark, when you burn it, it releases a beautiful scent. Okay? And the Prophet ﷺ used to have the Sahaba do this every day after Dhuhr. Every single day. Right? Every single day. So, it's very important. We have next makruhat al-ghusl and what janaba prohibits. Right? What janaba prohibits. And we have to do this after Salat al-Maghrib. Time for adhan now. So make sure if you have any questions to write them down. We will do parts 5 and 6 and then Q&A after Salat al-Maghrib. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.